This may look like a normal security breach on a frontier outpost, the kind of emergency that means something dangerous has gone terribly wrong. But it's not what you think, because when Commander Zorath rushes into the human's workshop expecting chaos and potential death, he finds something even more unbelievable. Instead of alarms, explosions, or unauthorized machinery, there are two Varith predator cubs sitting calmly on the workshop floor, their sharp claws gleaming and their eyes watching every movement with deadly focus. And standing beside them, acting as if this is the most normal thing in the galaxy, is a human engineer showing them how to use tools like they're her students. What should have been a crisis turns into something far stranger. A human teaching apex predators how to build machines. The danger is real, and Commander Zorath knows it immediately. Varith cubs are not harmless creatures. They come from a brutal death world and grow into hunters feared across multiple systems. Even young, they can tear through metal and shred armor with ease. Keeping them inside a busy engineering bay is not just risky, it breaks every safety rule the Coalition has ever written. If this situation isn't handled correctly, serious consequences will follow. The cubs could panic or attack. The station could face political backlash for harboring an endangered predator species. And the human responsible could endanger the entire crew. If these creatures stay where they don't belong, someone could get injured. Regulations could be violated, and the outpost could face a crisis no one is ready for. Commander Zorath storms through the metal corridors, its irritation growing with every step. Outpost Helix 9 rarely has security problems, and when it does, they are never small. He expects to find humans causing some kind of dangerous mess again. After all, in 30 standard cycles of service, he has learned one thing: humans never follow the rules. They twist them, bend them, and sometimes ignore them completely. And somehow, they always survive the disaster they create. When the doors to Engineering Bay 7 hiss open, Zorath freezes. Secondary eyelids blink rapidly, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. In the middle of the workshop, surrounded by half-built machines and scattered tools, sit Varith, cubs predators feared across their entire region of space. Their black fur shines under the lights, and their bright amber eyes track every movement with sharp, dangerous precision. Yet beside them crouches Mara Keel, the human engineer, acting like nothing is wrong. Grease smudges her cheek, her hair is tied back in a messy knot, and she is calmly showing the cubs how to handle a plasma welder. One cub copies her movements perfectly, as if this were a normal training session. Zorath can hardly speak. This is nothing like the security breach he expected. It's something far stranger. When Zorath finally manages to speak, his voice echoes through the workshop like a warning blast. He demands an explanation, but Mara simply looks up at him with surprised eyes, as if she didn't expect anyone to question her at all. She greets him casually, stretches her back, and acts like nothing unusual is happening. Zorath points out the obvious: the two predators sitting beside her are unauthorized, dangerous, and absolutely forbidden in this area. But Mara cuts him off without hesitation. She calls them her apprentices, as if that one word makes everything acceptable. The commander's translator almost glitches trying to interpret her words. Apprentices? These creatures are Varith cubs, born on a world where survival is brutal, and even adults keep their distance. Mara sighs and finally explains the truth. 3 weeks earlier, during routine repairs, she heard scratching inside the ventilation ducts. She found the cubs hidden in a maintenance shaft, hungry, frightened, and alone. Their den had been destroyed in an asteroid impact, and their mother didn't survive. Protocol demanded they be sent back to their homeworld, but no transport was available for months. Orphaned Varith cubs rarely live long in the wild, and Mara knew it. So she fed them, sheltered them, and over time noticed something strange. The cubs weren't just watching her work, they were studying her. Fixed a relay with no instructions. The other rebuilt a thruster assembly with perfect precision. They weren't a threat, at least not to her. They were learning. Commander Zorath turns his attention back to the cubs, and what he sees only deepens his confusion. Tira, the smaller cub with the notched ear, has already returned to the circuit board on the table. Her small, razor-sharp claws move gently over the wires, adjusting each piece with surprising care. It's not random pawing, it's focus. Real, technical focus. Meanwhile, Vox sits beside a holographic schematic, tilting his head from side to side as he studies each line of the projection. His movements are slow and thoughtful, like a tiny engineer trying to solve a problem. These cubs aren't just mimicking motions, they understand what they're doing. Mara explains proudly that Vox disassembled and rebuilt a full thruster assembly all on his own, and Zorth's HUD confirms it. 97% efficiency. It's better than most trained engineers. He feels his world shift again. Humans have a reputation for adopting creatures that could easily kill them, and Mara admits she is guilty of that. But she's also guilty of something else, seeing potential where everyone else sees danger. Watching the cubs now, Zorth understands why she kept them. They aren't wild beasts causing trouble. They're students. They're learning. And somehow, impossibly, the human is turned to deadly predators into young engineers. Zoroth's tail twitches as he watches the cubs work. Inside, his thoughts are louder than anything in the workshop. Everything he knows, every rule, every regulation, every safety protocol tells him this situation is unacceptable. Predators do not belong on a coalition outpost. Endangered species require strict handling. Protocol demands he remove them immediately and file a report by the end of the hour. That is what any proper commander would do. But then he remembers the humans he has served with over the years. The human medic who calmed a raging Threxian twice her size. The human pilot who risked her life flying through an ion storm. Human captain who brought peace between warring species with nothing but stubborn hope. Humans never follow the rules in the way others expect. They follow something deeper: instinct, compassion, possibility. And somehow, it always changes everything. Zoroth looks at Mara, who stands there with grease on her cheek and confidence in her eyes, and he feels the weight of his choices pressing against his chest. The regulations are clear, but so is the truth in front of him. These cubs are different. They're learning, growing, and they're safe with her. For the first time in a long while, Zoroth hesitates, not because he doubts himself, but because he realizes there might be a better way. Zoroth's thoughts settle as he makes his choice. It goes against regulations, against every protocol drilled into him over 30 cycles, but it feels right. He straightens his posture and fixes Mara with a firm stare. When he speaks, his voice is steady, leaving no room for argument. The cubs will stay, but under strict conditions. Must remain with her at all times. She's fully responsible for everything they do. Any damage, any accidents, any mistakes will be on her. And if they are going to live on this station, they must be trained properly, not treated like pets or kept as a secret project. They must become real members of the crew. Mara doesn't hesitate. Her grin widens, honest and bright, and she nods as if she expected this outcome all along. Zoroth turns to leave, his guards following him out, but he pauses at the doorway. He tells her to make sure the cubs learn well, because the galaxy always needs good engineers. Mara promises they will after all. They have the best teacher they could ask for. As the doors close behind him, Zoroth allows himself a small, rare smile. Humans are unpredictable, reckless, and sometimes outright insane. But they are exactly what the universe needs. Back in the workshop, Mara kneels beside the two cubs. Again, her smile softening as she picks up a new set of tools. She speaks to them the way a teacher speaks to eager students, not dangerous predators. Tira and Vox chirp together, their amber eyes glowing with intelligence and something warmer, something that looks very much like trust. Mara tells them it's time to get back to work because the fusion reactor needs rebuilding, and she wants them to understand every single piece of it. The cubs lean closer, ready to learn, ready to help. In this cold, metal outpost floating in the silent dark of space where 100 different species live side by side, human engineer has done something no rulebook ever imagined. She has taken two broken, frightened, dangerous young predators and given them purpose, guidance, and a place to call home. And in doing so, she has made the galaxy just a little less harsh. That is what humans do best. Find the lost, the feared, the unwanted, and they turn them into family. And sometimes, that small act of compassion changes the future more than any weapon, law, or army ever could.